Good day, my people, my people, my people. My name is Chief Strongblood, St. Vincent and the Grenadines' favorite and most hated son, the diaspora machismo. My people, I'm going to get right into the meat of the topic. On April the 20th, 2022, I brought you a video that clearly shows that Ralph Gonsalves is suffering from early onset Alzheimer's. He had an incident of public dementia last Thursday, the 28th of May 2022. After Ralph Gonsalves returned from Venezuela, he had a press conference. And he had another public event of dementia. Take a look at this video.
Diesel, but also gasoline. And I said diesel because the bulk of the minibuses, 90% plus, they operate on diesel. But the bulk of the rest of private transportation are gasoline. And of course we have to deal with LPG, cooking gas. There are, I think Sion's phone is doing something. Yeah, but come on. Yeah. I lost my train of thought momentarily.
He was speaking about government addressing the petrol issue and the rise in petrol costs. And he was listing off the name of the petrol. He didn't lose his memory. Is that another thought came and totally overthrew the thought that he was expressing verbally. And he started speaking about something that is totally unrelated. He said, I think CN phone is doing something. Realized that he's now speaking out of turn. He slammed his hands on the desk because he was not really angry. He was annoyed that this is happening to him in public. My people. After which, he says, I just lost my train of thought momentarily. That was not a loss of train of thought. That was where, without his control, a memory that he had take possession of his thoughts and his spoken ability. Now he was now expressing a totally unrelated thought. After which he recovered and he continued what he was saying.
At the next street or go ahead or anything. It was just like I had drifted off the earth. I was sitting in space and lost. Then I'd recover and I'd go on.
But all of these are common features in early onset Alzheimer's. He has been doing a very good job in hiding his Alzheimer's. I could pinpoint at least 3 or 4 different occasions when Ralph Gonsalves had dementia in this press conference. The fact that is I'm just trying to alert you and show you those instances where it is evident that he's actually having onset Alzheimer's. People, view this short video and you will understand what is happening. My name is the Chief Strongblood, St. Vincent and the Grenadines' favorite and most hated son, the diaspora machismo.
And, even though I was a dermatologist, and that's far removed from a neurologist, I still have a medical background that I can speak from and say, you know, this is something that we need to work with. And
what made you even go to a doctor? And
I had an anger problem. My typical mild self turned to an ogre. And then the other thing that happened was that I was having spells, very briefly, of driving down a familiar street and suddenly being unable to remember where I was. I couldn't remember whether I was supposed to turn at the next street or go ahead or anything. It was just like I had drifted off the earth. I was sitting in space and lost. Then I'd recover and I'd go on. But this happened many times. And so they're subtle. And I could very well get away with hiding those. You wouldn't know if I didn't tell you. Most of it is things that just aren't real apparent at this point.
Do you think part of it is because you can sort of hide probably things, those deficiencies, you can cover them up?
Absolutely. That's why they haven't made the diagnosis yet. I still don't have a diagnosis of Alzheimer's, truly. The psychological testing is not abnormal. I still compensate for my mistakes in techniques of memory, so that the truth is that by the time they make the diagnosis of Alzheimer's, and truly can make the diagnosis of Alzheimer's, is when a person has reached the stage 4, which means they can't work anymore, they can't drive a car, they couldn't find their way home. You could make the diagnosis. I mean, anybody can make the diagnosis because the person is incompetent. And that's the point at which they can truly make the diagnosis with the criteria for diagnosis at this point in time. And to say that there's not some need for preparation for the future is absurd. Even if there isn't any medication that's going to change the course of events, you can still look at the course of events and face them realistically.